Hi all, happy July. Been having lots of rain, wanted to make a video. Stuff is looking way different than it did last year. Oh, and some of the rain did some damage out here. Well, let's take a look and see what happened. These are white beets. They have exploded. They're planted under and around my tomatillos. I did, I think, 10 tomatillo plants last year, 12. I'm only doing 2 this year and I'll still have plenty. And we already have little fruits starting to form. So yay! Lots of bindweed. I need to come through and weed this area. We kind of weed in shifts. Peas are doing well. I'm going to plant climbing beans where this batch of peas is, up over to the edge of where that first cucumber is, this week. And these are probably going to come out in about 2 more weeks. We're going to get close to the end of pea season. Kind of as soon as it starts to get hot, the peas are going to stop producing well. The tomatoes. This is about as big as they got all last year. So they're doing really well. They're really appreciating all this rain we've been having. Onions. Lots of onions. I'm not going to dig any up, but you can see that they're starting to form bulbs, so that's nice. I cut back the comfrey recently, like a few days ago or so, a few days ago. They were huge and shading out the strawberries. I think in future I need to cut back the comfrey so it doesn't grow, into other stuff around second week of June is when I should harvest it, but live and learn. Still very few carrots have come up, a few very spotty carrots. I've planted a whole bunch of beets in this area that don't want to come up for whatever reason, but beets and more beets there. Red beets, golden beets, and then some red beets in here as well. Some of the okra is starting to come up. Ooh, lots of bugs out here. Tomatoes again. I'm going to make this patch a little pond, a little wildlife pond. But I didn't want to do that this year. I have too many other projects going on. So I've planted a bunch of okra in here too. It's kind of coming up hit and miss, but it's a dead space, so I figured whatever comes up is extra. The currant bushes are all very big. I like these. I like having these onions that went to seed. They're pretty. I like allium flowers. Borage is doing well as always. It's basically indestructible in this area, and the bees love it. Coming around this way, these are the determinate tomatoes, Romas and San Marzanos. They're doing pretty well. No fruit started yet. Some of the fruit has started on the indeterminates, like this. I think this is a Super Sweet 100. And then this is black strawberry, I want to say. But so we're getting a couple of tomatoes starting to come up. The peppers are slow to recover, but they're recovering. So we harvested a whole bunch of kale in here, and I've pulled out most of the lettuce that was going to seed. And then we had a huge rainstorm that's knocked over a whole bunch of plants and stuff. So it was looking a little better yesterday, but still, peppers are alive. They aren't happy, but they're alive, and once it gets hotter, they'll start doing a lot better. This batch of peas, similar to the first, they're going to come out probably in about 2 more weeks. I'm leaving a few, like this guy, to go to seed, so I'll have plenty of pea seeds for next year. I like to leave probably 10 pods to go to seed, 20 pods to go to seed, so we're shifting into that, away from just pluck to eat them, and I'm going to let a few of them mature. These are bush beans. Which ones are they? Dragon tongue beans. First year trying these, I'm hopeful for them. And a kale plant in the middle. Lots of basil. The basil is doing really well this year. The high rain, cool temperatures, it's been unseasonably cool and very, very high amounts of rain in Colorado this year. Basil is loving it. Cucumbers are starting to bear cucumbers. They're along the vine, or the trellis. And then in the back, blackberry, raspberry. And over here you can see one sticking out among all the weeds, but the blueberries haven't died yet. So this is kind of the first year where the blueberries actually look like they've rooted, so I'm hopeful. Going around the other side, strawberries have been more productive this year, but they're not filling out yet. So I'm waiting for them to kind of finish their first flush of berries, and then I'm going to start planting runners again and see how that goes. The trees are all doing really well. This fig tree was much nicer yesterday before the storm last night blew it over, but that'll pop back up. Rhubarb, nectarine, lots and lots of squash planted out in the middle here. This is I'm not going to be able to walk through this area by the end of summer most likely because these squash vines are going to fill it out. For most of them, there's at least 2 plants planted in each hole, so it's going to fill out in all sorts of directions. Egyptian walking onions are starting to bulb up. You can see some of them are already trying to plant themselves, but I think that this might have something to do with the cool and rain. But yeah, that's going to fill out. The garlic bed, I'm very happy with this garlic bed. It's starting to go. I want to wait until the leaves have died off up to about this one or this one. They'll start dying off from the top, bottom up. That's how you get that papery wrapping around. It's from the died off leaves. And when it has a few sets of leaves died off, that means it's ready to harvest. I have harvested about 5 or 6 bulbs so far, mostly small ones that were not getting watered well, stuff like that. I did get one really big one though, so I'm looking forward to getting some really good seed garlic from this patch next year. I want to say there were apples on this tree. I don't remember which tree had the apples, but one of the trees has apples. Oh, here we go. First apples are starting. This is the Pink Lady. So we're going to have apples this year, a couple of them. First couple little plums. So we're going to have plums. This I want to say is a red Bartlett. Compost pile. This year, or this spring, instead of trying to make a mulch for the paths out of the comfrey, I just tossed it in the compost pile. So I flipped the compost pile, layered it up, and then shoved it over to one side to try and get it to be a little more biologically active in the middle. But so the compost pile has gotten its spring flip. I'm going to flip it again in the fall. Ooh. Sorry, please pardon all of the weeds through this area. This is an iris from my family's house. This just came up yesterday, I want to say. And this one just came up today. So I'm glad that some of the irises are making it in this bed. The honeyberries are alive. They're not liking getting pounded by the rain, but they're alive. Getting lots and lots of mushroom activity. Some inky caps. I want to say these are shiitakes. I'm not sure, but lots of patches of this kind of mushroom around here. If there are shiitakes, that would be really cool. I did get golden oysters come up. The golden oysters came up out of this piece of stump, and it's starting to come back. So when it came up, I just planted them over in another spot. I want to spread those out because I like oyster mushrooms. Let's see, asparagus. The asparagus patch is mostly alive. It's starting to fill in. Some of the ones that I didn't think were going to come up, like this guy and this guy, finally did come up, so it's starting to fill in more fully, and we should have a nicer looking asparagus patch next year. Squash, squash, squash. Lots of squash blossoms, lots of big squash plants. This is back where the winter squashes are. So you can see this one has 4 squash plants planted in it. Ooh, and a lot of pill bugs. Oop. A lot of pill bugs down there. So, they're eating something. Hopefully not the plants, hopefully the wood chips. Oh. More of this stuff I think is shiitakes. We like the garden sage. It's been really nice for us. And we've been eating cherries off of this bush. Okay, I'm taking a long time to talk. I'm gonna run around to the front. Ooh, my favorite rose bush. My less favorite bindweed. But favorite rose bush. It's a little past its prime now. It was really pretty about a week ago. I'm going to make a loop around the front and call it. This, that's the bush that used to be here. I'm still fighting killing it. Weeds. Ooh, slime mold. Dog vomit slime mold. That's a bacterial organism. These got blown over by the storm last night a little bit, but this is all lavender. Not the traditional lavender color, but it smells like it. Super hardy, doing really well. For comparison, this is the English lavender. So you can see the size comparison. These seeds were started at the same time. Definitely not going to be doing English lavender. It's also a little less hardy. The tree lilies are looking real pretty. Some of them have started blooming. This bloom is just opening up. We'll see how that guy looks. Around the front, the irises are big. Some of them bloomed, some of them didn't. Both of the Nanking cherries are starting to grow a lot faster than they did last year. They also appreciate all the water. I like the gladioluses. Ooh, and a purple one is starting too. Purple, orange, white, more orange. And I like this daylily. I made this my Facebook profile picture. What else is here? Some of the natives are starting to flower a little bit. They're not well established though. It's going to be a while before they are. So here is a blue columbine that's barely starting. Forget what this is called. Blanket flower maybe? I can't remember. Up there, here I'll walk up this way. We do have one coneflower, one purple coneflower that is starting to bloom. I'm really excited for this. I planted the kind that's both native and you make teas out of it, so likely to get some teas. The Agastache, only one of them has survived. I tried to plant another one in this area. Oh, no, both of them. So supposedly this one and this one are from the same family. I don't think that's right. The lilac has survived and is growing but slowly. And then on this end, small hostas, oregano, thyme down the side, some weeds. There's a strawberry patch in between the two stumps. The grapevine is growing up that trellis, you can barely see it, and then more oregano on the back. The oregano is not super even because I came out and chopped down enough that I'm going to dry in the kitchen for the use for the year. So that's all I have, guys. Finally getting close to the end with this front yard landscaping project. The wood chips out here are a little shallow, so you can see like animals have dug down into the manure layer in a few places. I think I might need more wood chips. We'll see. I didn't cover that area right there that's covered in greenery with wood chips. That's mostly bindweed, but some other weeds as well. So I need to go through and weed that soon, or else I'm just never going to get the bindweed out of that corner. That was about all I had. Happy July. It's the 5th of July. Happy 4th to everyone. And take care, y'all.